Okay, so the start of the school year is right around the corner, and we want to make sure your family stays safe, happy, and healthy no matter how the kids return to learning this year, whether it's in the actual school building or if it's some type of virtual program. And today we're really focusing on the psychological effects this school year can have on your kids, whether they're going back to school, doing virtual learning, no matter how old they are. And joining me today, licensed mental health counselor Stephanie Moyer. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we have a lot of issues to cover. So let's just start with the biggest issue. Let's take it one type of schooling at a time. So for the kids who are going back into the building, what do
Yes,
you think is going to be the biggest issues that they have to tackle psychologically this year?
absolutely. I really think it begins with the social aspect of going back to school and potentially social distancing while you're there, and obviously having to remember to wear a mask. That's going to be really difficult for kids to understand, especially the younger that they are. So I can imagine that being, a little troublesome at school for especially the teachers, that are going to have to be caring for them.
Because it's like, when you're younger, you just want to hug your friends and whatnot. So how do parents approach that at home and get them ready for that situation before even they step into that building?
Yeah. I think it's a great conversation to have as a family and for, younger kids as well as teens to definitely understand and comprehend, whatever the restrictions may be at school. It's good to have appropriate conversations as a family, but also with your school. So I think the main, theme for the year is going to be open communication with teachers and obviously your schools as well. So that way you can make sure you're all on the same page because it's going to be quite a unique year, I think, for all of us. So that would mitigate anything, moving forward from becoming a problem later on.
And what do you tell, a kid, it doesn't really matter any age, um, who's getting ready to go to school for the first time in several months? They may be nervous, anxious. It's a whole different set of
Yeah,
nerves this year. What would you tell them before the first day?
absolutely. I think it's good to have this conversation in the sense of like, I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know what are your thoughts. So the first thing you want to do is always validate a child, never make them feel discredited in any kind of way, shape, or form, and validate how they're feeling, validate where their thoughts are, and obviously try to have that open conversation with them. So that way you definitely are in touch with them as the year goes on and as the weeks go on too, because I'm sure things will pop up that maybe weren't an issue to begin with, right? So you
Yeah,
want to make sure you have that open trust and communication with them to
kind of.
keep moving forward.
Yeah, start that from the get-go. Now, let's kind of switch gears here for students and families, excuse me, who choose virtual learning, e-learning, staying at home. What do you think the biggest issue? I mean, obviously, there's not going to be a lot of social interaction with the kids being at home.
Right. That's exactly it. I think the main question I've had is just what do we do, to keep that social interaction? They're not going to be at school, so obviously parents are really worried about that and rightfully so. It's a very important part of school, the social aspect. So maybe finding activities that you're comfortable with your child participating in, whether it's in person and social distancing or outside of school in the sense of like an e-program, maybe a music class, an art class, some type of physical education, a youth group, or some kind of scout troop that might be meeting virtually. I think those are really great ways to incorporate the social aspect that they would otherwise not have at school.
Yeah, that's something definitely need to bring up. And now,
Yeah.
same question as we talked about with the actual school building. What do you tell kids who are anxious to get back to school virtual learning? I feel like it's just still it's so new.
It is. It's going to be very new this year, and again having that conversation where how are you feeling about things, and what are your thoughts about going back to the school year this year, and just making that communication again open, between the family and obviously the school as well, the teachers, and I think that's going to be a very important part of this school year is just like kind of everybody integrating and really working together to have a successful year. Um, that I think is gonna be the game changer for this entire year, really, and more than that is just staying organized, staying organized as a family and planning things, because the more organized you are from the beginning, I think the more success we're gonna have as a family, obviously, okay?
Mhm. So you never know where things are going to go from here. So you might as well
No.
start off on a strong foot. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. It's going to be a very interesting school year for all the kiddos. So appreciate your perspective on how to keep them sane this year. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.